Welcome to this comprehensive tutorial on implementing AI for enemy characters in Java. In this video, we will explore how to make game enemies that can navigate the environment and react to the player's actions. We'll build a simple AI that will allow our enemies to chase, patrol, and sense the player's presence. Let's dive in. Before we jump into the code, let's discuss the high-level concepts we'll be implementing today. We'll work with a basic game structure and focus on three important AI behaviors: patrolling, chasing, and fleeing. We will create an enemy class that encapsulates all these functionalities. First, let's set up our main project structure. Create a new directory called AI Enemy Game. Inside that, create a folder named SRC for our source code. We will also create a simple game class to kick things off. Here, we've defined our main class game with the entry point main. This is where our game will begin executing. Next, we're going to create a simple environment where our enemies can patrol. In this updated game class, we've added a list to hold our enemy objects. The Create Enemies method initializes 5 enemies and places them evenly along the x-axis. Let's now define our enemy class. With this simple enemy class, we now have coordinates for each enemy character. The Patrol method is a placeholder. We will enhance this later. Now, let's implement the patrol logic to vary the enemy's movements. Now, the enemies will automatically change their direction once they hit the edges of the defined boundaries. We can visualize our game loop by calling the patrol method in our game loop. This game loop continues infinitely, calling the patrol method for each enemy every second. Now, let's enhance our enemy AI to incorporate a chasing behavior. To do this, we'll need to detect the player. In this new player class, we store the player's coordinates and provide methods to access them. Now let's modify the enemy class to chase the player once the player is within a certain distance. Here, the chase method computes the distance between the enemy and the player. If the player is within the defined chase_distance, the enemy will move closer to the player. Let's modify our run method to include the player and handle both the patrolling and chasing logic. With these changes, the enemies now patrol, and if a player is nearby, they start to chase the player. Next, we'll implement a fleeing behavior for the enemies, which kicks in once the player gets too close, creating a fear mechanic. In the flee method, if the enemy is within FLE_distance, it will move away from the player's current position. Next, let's integrate this into the game loop to create a complete state machine for enemy behavior. Now, our enemies will patrol, flee when too close, and chase when the player moves within a certain distance. This covers basic AI behavior for our enemies, which creates a dynamic game experience. To wrap things up, let's summarize what we learned in this tutorial. We implemented a simple AI for enemy characters using Java. We created a patrolling behavior, then added chasing and fleeing mechanics based on proximity to the player. Don't forget that this is a basic implementation. From here, you can expand upon these concepts with more complex logic, pathfinding, like an asterisk algorithm, and other engaging behaviors. Thank you for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more content on game development with Java. Let's create intelligent game worlds together.